We got the walkie that doesn't have the correct frequency. Let me see if I can send them a message and let them know.
Microphone is okay. I mean, it's just because it's a little far, it might be quiet.
Do you see the chat?
What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Joey. Joe.
Any public comments here in person today? I will check if there are any public comments at our school sites. Vista Charter Middle School, are there any public comments? Vista Horizon Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments from Vista Horizon.
Palm Lane Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Meridian Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Vista Lago Global Academy, are there any public comments?
No public comments.
That concludes the public comments.
Did we hear did I hear Vista Charter Middle say anything, or? I just want to make sure. Okay. Oh, yeah, can we just check with Vista Charter Middle School to see if we can get verbal response? Just make sure for the record. And if not, we can try text Mario or link. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. I'm hearing we're connected, so I'm going to go ahead and assume we're okay, but can we send a message to them via Zoom or and see if we can make sure that they confirm for the record? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move ahead and then we'll come back if there's any public comment from Vista Charter Middle School and make sure we capture that at a different time in the agenda if we have to and they'd like to. Okay, so let's
There are
move
no
on.
public comments from Mr. Charter Middle School.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, we're all set. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to consent items. So I will take a motion on the consent calendar, which is 2.1 through 2.11, unless someone would like to pull an item.
A motion.
Okay, move to.
Second.
Okay, in a second. Any discussion on the consent? All right. I'll call for the vote then. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, on aye, and that carries unanimously 4-0. Okay, thank you. We're moving on to 3.1, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Felch.
All right, thank you very much. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the first official or first board meeting here in Santa Ana of the 25-26 school year. We're going to start with recognitions, and we have a fair amount this year. So I'm going to go through all of them, and then afterwards, I will welcome the board to come up to the front for photos. So first, we're going to start off by recognizing our August Certificated Employee of the Month, and it is Miss Lily Huang from Vista Horizon Global Academy. Miss Lily has had Vista's highest level of academic achievement in math and ELA for the last 2 years in any single grade level. She has done extraordinary work with her 3rd grade classes over the past few years, and she going into her classroom is just such a joy. I see Mr. Benavides nodding, and she's just such a wonderful teacher. So thrilled to recognize her as our August Certificated Employee of the Month. For our August Classified Employee of the Month, she is right here. It is Miss Alyssa Ross, our Associate Director of Strategic Communication and Growth. And Alyssa does a lot, particularly these last few months. And I have used the term heroic multiple times. For those of you who don't know how long it typically takes to go through a city approval process, it's usually 6 to 12 months. Through Alyssa's leadership, we were able to get it done in 60 days to open Vista Lago on time. That is unheard of. And that is just one of many things that Alyssa has done for Vista and especially Vista Lago as we've gotten Lago off the ground. But she's just shown incredible persistence, incredible determination, incredible enthusiasm, even when I know that she is extremely tired. But she always keeps her head up, always keeps a smile, and just keeps on moving forward. So definitely want to honor Alyssa for her incredible work as our August Classified Employee of the Month. And for our parent or supporter of the month, I would like to recognize one of our new Vista Lago parents. She is a 1st, 5th, and 9th grade parent at Lago, Miss Rebecca Franco. And Miss Franco, I believe, is on Zoom. She has been a very active parent early on at Vista Lago. Not only did she enroll her 3 kids in the school, but she's also helped recruit a number of other families to join as well. Ms. Franco has shown to be extremely collaborative with both staff and other parents during the first week of school, and we're excited for that collaboration to continue. Congratulations, Ms. Franco. And we are also going to celebrate a number of 10-year anniversaries, 10-year Vista anniversaries this month. So Vista, whenever someone eclipses the 10-year mark, we do a special celebration at the board meeting for a decade of dedication to Vista. And this month we have 4 employees who have reached the 10-year mark over this past summer. The first one is our very own Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Karen Amaya. I can't think of many, if any, people that over the past 10 years have had as much of an impact on this organization as Karen has. And so 10 years seems like it probably has gone fast. But if you look back at 10 years where this organization was back in 2015, it looked very different than where it is now. Second, we would like to honor Jay Proano for 10 years of dedication. Mr. Proano is currently the Vista Meridian principal, but he switched counties recently. Before that, he was in LA and held multiple roles as a 6th grade teacher, intervention coordinator, assistant principal, among other things. And Mr. Proano, like Ms. Amaya, has definitely seen the transformation over the past decade. I would also like to celebrate Mr. Uriel Montiel for 10 years. And unlike Mr. Proano, Uriel has stayed in the exact same role for 10 years as the plant manager here in Santa Ana. And on a personal note, Uriel was one of the first people I met when I was brought on board to be principal here at Heritage. And Uriel is just, he's as authentic as they come. Such a hard worker, such a family man. But also just such a genuine person. And so thank you, Uriel, for everything that you have done over the past decade, and looking forward to continuing that for another decade plus. And then finally, we also have Coach G, Jesus Bojorquez. He is Vista Charter Middle School's Culture and Community Coordinator. He might be on Zoom. I know he was coaching right now, so he may or may not be on there. He is on there. Well, congratulations, Coach G, on a decade of service for Vista. And Coach G literally does it all. I think the title is one thing, but it definitely does not define him. Coach G is everywhere at Vista and has been for the past 10 years, and has been really out in the community. Everyone just absolutely adores Coach G, and is, again, such a hard worker. I feel like a broken record, but has been such an asset to the Vista family. So congratulations, Coach G. And now I will invite the board to come up front, and we will take pictures with our employees of the month and those who are celebrating their anniversary. And if you are not here, when I come and visit your school site, I will make sure to get a photo with you. All right, congratulations again to all of our employees of the month, our parent of the month, and everyone who celebrated their 10-year anniversary. So moving on with the superintendent's report, a quick enrollment update after the first week. Vista Charter Public Schools is just under 1,900 students altogether. Each of the schools, I won't go one by one, but each of the schools are slightly under enrolled compared to what our target was. We'll discuss that a little more, and I know Arturo will touch on that in his report. But I also want to make sure I share this with all of our staff and principals that we need to make sure that we're prioritizing enrollment. every single year, and it's not just this year. We always see a little decline during the first week of school, seeing who shows up and who does not. But it's important now that we're following up with each of our families and continuing to reach out, engage with the community, engage with families, and make sure that we're doing everything possible to increase enrollment. Moving on. So we also have, we just celebrated the 10-year anniversaries, but I would like to take a moment to welcome a brand new member of our team. We have a new director of instruction, Dr. Mara Simmons. So welcome to the Vista family. And Dr. Simmons comes to Vista with a wealth of experience throughout the educational landscape. It's ranged from being a charter school principal to an instructional director at LUSD to running a nonprofit abroad. She truly is a transformational leader, and we are so fortunate that she is now going to be leading the instructional efforts at Vista. So welcome to the family. I shared this when introducing Alyssa, but Vista Lago is now officially open for business, and so it is no small feat to open a school, and so this is, as we like to call it, lucky number 7 for Vista Charter Public Schools. And last Monday was the first ever day of school for Vista Lago, and I want to thank Board President Durfee for being present on that first day of school at Vista Lago. And it really meant a lot to be there welcoming families as they come to a brand new school. And again, congratulations to Dr. Carrillo, who is in Lake Elsinore, making sure that the live stream is good to go there. Dr. Carrillo has done a lot of work making sure that the school is ready to go. But also, as I shared earlier, Alyssa has had a huge role in making that possible. But Vista Lago was not the only school that opened last Monday. All of our schools opened, and so our teams were really out in full force, giving high fives, exchanging smiles, just welcoming all of our kids and our families back for the new school year. And loved seeing all the photos. I tried to get to as many of the schools as I could on the first day, but just loved seeing how we're out and about and welcoming our kids back and making sure that they not only feel welcome, but they feel safe, especially with everything that's going on right now in our communities and with immigration enforcement. It's important that we are reaching out to our families and making sure that we're doing everything possible so they feel safe. And speaking of, and this is kind of like getting to our global impact. So I have a particular story that Mr. Summer shared with me from the first day of school that I would like to share with all of you from Vista Charter Middle School. And it's about a new 6th grader who had entered Vista Charter Middle School for the first time last Monday. And when she entered the school, Mr. Summer could tell that she was really nervous. Coming to middle school for the first time, brand new school. And so Mr. Summer made sure to walk her to her class and wanted to make sure that she was feeling comfortable. And as they were walking up, they passed by the stairwell. And this year we have surrounded the stairwells with flags from countries around the world. And when they were walking up the stairs, she looked up and she saw the Honduras flag. And she said to Mr. Summer, "Wow, that's my country's flag." And Mr. Summer said that at that moment, she felt like she was at home. And I think that it's those moments that make a world of difference. And so thank you, Mr. Summer, for sharing that. And it's a reminder of the power that we have to make all of our students feel at home at Vista. I want to share some data from last year, particularly with internships and work experience. So Dr. Rial has established a partnership with EXP, and they shared a participation report that is attached to my superintendent's report. And at Vista Meridian this past year, we had a total of 156 students that participated in at least one of the EXP programs, which include IT, biomedical, and so on. We had a number of students that participated in different internships, and we've also established an advisory board that started meeting last year. And so great work. I know that we are continuing to grow the program, and so the best is yet to come. But it's exciting to see all of these numbers of what we've accomplished in the first year with this partnership. And as we approach the end of the superintendent's report, two exciting announcements. So first, Vista Lago Global Academy, our brand new school, has been selected by the mayor of Lake Elsinore to be highlighted in the promotional video for the upcoming State of the City address. So we have been working very closely with the city staff of Lake Elsinore, and the mayor himself said that he wants Vista Lago to be highlighted on that video. So very exciting, and look forward to that great exposure for Vista Lago within the community, and also very thankful for the mayor, the entire city council, and the city of Lake Elsinore staff for their partnership. And lastly, in October, on October 2nd, Vista Charter Public Schools was also selected to host charter leaders from across the state for the California Charter School, the CCSA's annual member council in-person meeting. And so out of all charter schools in California, we were selected to host right here in this very building. So that's very exciting. We'll be having charter leaders from across the state flying in to meet here, and we'll also be doing some walkthroughs of Condor and Heritage. We'll have student performances, so no pressure, Roxanne, but definitely looking forward to it, and just happy to put Vista on the statewide stage. So that's exciting. And that is my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Felch. I want to take two liberties. I guess I missed the applause for our teacher because I thought she might be here, so I didn't get to really celebrate that. And so I just want to remark on what an accomplishment. We have great celebrations tonight, as always, but 2 years in a row, growth in the same, that's an amazing feat. I think that's something to be really proud of, and shows the dedication that our teacher is probably not here because she's so focused where she should be, which is on the students. And but I thought it was just important to really make that celebration because we didn't really clap for her. And then I also we have a special guest here tonight from LA Unified. So thank you for being here tonight. This is one of our great partners in the LA Unified School District with our schools there. So we appreciate you being here. We welcome you back. I know the traffic is a bear from LA, having grown up there. But thank you for being here tonight. So we'll take those two liberties and then we'll move on. Any questions on the superintendent's report? Any discussion items? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Felch. All right, we'll move on then to our next item, which is 3.2, the principal's reports. And I'll hand it back over to Dr. Felch for comment.
Yes, and I believe that we have Mr. Perano, our Vista Meridian principal and recent 10-year anniversary member, to share his principal report.
You probably need a microphone. It sounded like it might be.
Okay, there we are. It's interesting. I think I did the first principal's report when we first did a board meeting in this room, and then now I'm starting the year off. I can't believe we all made it to this point. I feel like summer was never going to end and we got here. Here we go. Enrollment. We've, like very many schools, we faced some enrollment challenges this year. We ended in June, kind of really proud of ourselves up in that 280 mark. We still kind of charged through somewhere in the 270s, and then day one hit and it just plummeted. There was a lot of stuff that happened over summer with a lot of the ICE raids, a lot of kind of uncertainty here in the community. We've been working really hard to kind of build these back up. As of last Monday, we dropped down to 221. As of today, we bounced, this was done the other day. So as of today, we bounced back up to 244. So our team's they've been making phone calls. We now have a community school coordinator that is going, that week one, she was out over the weekend promoting the school and getting flyers out there. A lot of it is kind of the common. We're afraid to send our kid in. We're moving back out. We're moving closer to a homeschool because we don't want them traveling that far. But we are starting to get those phone calls from parents. We had one student who, after a whole week, decided, okay, you know what? No, we're going to go back. So the father and her were in today, and they were registering her back into our program today, which is great. So we anticipate a movement in these numbers. We know that come October, there's always an increase after those first progress reports. So we are expecting a little boost in that area as well. Kind of going forward, our office team has done amazing with just reaching out to every family member over and over again to double check on it. Last week, it was the first week of school, but because of the work that the office staff is doing, we had a 96% ADA rate, and that's what we're really pushing forward to do. And then to continue to help with attendance, and I believe we're talking about it today, we're also opening up a Saturday school to kind of provide that community hub for our students, whether it's about 4 hours, it's not every Saturday, but to give them a space to have Wi-Fi to do their homework. Our community school coordinator is working on a pantry. We already have a closet going. So just kind of create that hub for the families to come into and make our mark within that community. For LCAP 1, we've done some team expansions. Vista Meridian has been kind of running on a skeleton crew over the years. But we've kind of hit that point to where now we need to make sure that we have a teacher in place so that all of our high schoolers meet all their A through G requirements and they're ready to graduate by the time they hit their senior year. So we've brought in some great staff members. Our Spanish 3-4 teacher was actually an attorney in her past career. And what she did was she used to fight for her clients that were on death row. And very often she found that at that point, it was too late. So she traded in her pantsuit, went back to school, got her degree, her credential to begin teaching, and now she's our Spanish 3-4 teacher. So she's really kind of showing that, and she has shared that with her students, kind of really pushing them to let them know that they can do it. So we're really excited. I know Dr. Real and us have been talking, and we're looking to really build a CTE law program off of her that will be hosted at Santa Ana College. So there's a lot of really great stuff going on. We have also, and I mess the name up for this all the time, we got a what table? A nanomage table in for science. For those of you that don't know what it is a massive 6-foot screen that lets you kind of break down every layer of the body for our PLTW pathway. So we're really excited to get that going for all of our PLTW students. And it's overall, the feeling is amazing. A lot of our new teachers that we brought on board this summer, they went through all the new teacher summer PD, and it's been amazing to walk around. We just started week 2, and I think almost every class I walked into, council was taking place. Every class I walked into, I've seen team builders. I've seen the cooperative learning structures going on. I have teachers asking for council slides and for access to the Kagan book. So I'm really excited with where we're going and what these new experiences are leading us to. Our second LCAP is professional growth. We touched on this. Kagan cooperative learning, the way of counsel, all of this that they kind of went through over summer PD, you can tell that it really impacted the teachers. You can tell that they took a lot of these structures and signature practices to heart because we're seeing them instantly in the classes. I think one of the huge contributing factors that we're kind of seeing that success in class as well is we brought in those cell phone pouches this year to our Meridian campus, and students, they're not hiding behind their desk on their phones anymore. So now they have no choice but to get up and participate and socialize. I think for both Miss Young and myself, as we walk by the classes, we've seen a huge increase in engagement, which really does motivate our teachers to continue pushing forward. Family and community. As I said, Meridian finally has their first community school coordinator. We're very excited. Miss Cordova, when we were interviewing for this position, she was one of the unfortunate cuts from all the budget cuts within the community. But she has experience working with foster youth. She has experience building out kind of pantries and closets for the community to dig into. She's been a big part here within Santa Ana. She really is aiming to give back to her community. So we're excited for these partnerships. This has been our first week, and she's out the front. She's out over the weekend. She has all these ideas. So we're looking forward to having these come true with her and the rest of the front office team. I know she also went to Vista LA's Coffee with the Principal to get some ideas as she gears up for her first Coffee with the Principal with us coming up in September. My staff spotlight, I have these two gentlemen. For those of you that do not know, Meridian had 0 AC throughout summer. All 4 of our AC units broke down on us, and our team came in pretty much polos and shorts for I don't know how many weeks. Getting really close to that deadline, Mr. Linsky and Mr. Betho both, they were running out to Home Depot, to Walmart, buying portable AC units, setting them up. It has been a big feat. The 2 of them also moved all 10 of our classrooms at Santa Ana College by hand with a U-Haul and a dolly to get all of our rooms set up. It was really an all hands on deck. And none of that would have been possible without these 2 at all. And they're still going at it. They're still kind of rushing AC units to different classrooms, and an AC unit goes down. Santa Ana College has been a great partner with this. The problem is the ACs weren't ran for so many years, and now as they turn them on, they're starting to figure out. So they have fixed one piece, something breaks down, fix another piece, something breaks down. Friday, we were happy to feel some nice cool air. This morning, they were off again because when one goes off, breaker flips, the other one, it's just been nonstop. But these 2 have not complained one bit. They are moving all the heavy furniture for us and making sure our kids are nice and cool in all of their classrooms. So just kind of wanted to highlight these 2, which is just a couple of the great work that's been done over with our staff. And I believe that's it, Mario. And that's our report.
Thank you, Dr. Cron. Okay, any questions for Dr. Prano before you get away? No. Excellent job. Thank you very much. You already know the number, and I'm still trying to figure out where it is on the page. Arturo is here on 3.3 Icon Financial Reporting, and we'll go ahead and introduce. Do you want to set any context, or go ahead? Go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Today, we're going to cover a couple of things. First will be the June 2025 financials. And a little bit of a snapshot at the end of the year. We're still working through finalizing the unaudited actuals, which we'll present to you next month. And so that'll give you a bit more of a breakdown. And then we are going to look at the impact on the 25-26 budgets based off of the current enrollments from last week. So it's a very high snapshot look, but we felt it's very important to get that out and be transparent with the board and with the public on how that's at. Next slide. Next one. Okay, so first one here is the Vista Charter Middle School in Los Angeles. So a couple of things that I want to point out. They look very positive based off of where we were at the second interim, and that's driven by a couple of things. First is in federal funding, there was the employment retention credit that was received at the end of the year that was unexpected for several of the schools. For the middle school, that was $335,000. So that's a big chunk of that increase there for the federal funds. Similarly, on the federal funds, there was some prior year deferred revenue from ESSER 3 that appeared in the current year. So that's about 400,000. And then nutrition came in higher at the middle school, as at the initial start of the year, as the lead SFA for all of the schools, Meridian's portion was kind of falling in under the main SFA, which is the middle school. So we're going to kind of transfer some of those things over. When you look at the expenditure, so that's why your revenue is up versus where we were projected at the second interim. On the expenditure side, overall, we're just about where we were expecting, or a little bit under, and over in the 4,000 series, and that was a little bit high on the materials and supplies. Food costs were a little bit higher, and some computer purchases that drove that. I see he skipped ahead already to balance sheet. So healthy balance sheet for the middle school at the end of June. It had 6.2 million cash in banks in the clearing account, assets of about 16 million, liabilities of 6.6, accounts payable of 233,000, which is high for the time for the month, but it's because you're loading up for the following school year, an equity of 9.4 million. So healthy balance sheet for the middle school. Next page. Vista Heritage. So similar story here. First, on the increases on the revenue side, we talked about it the last couple of months in terms of LCFF. The district's UPP was a percentage higher, so that provided more supplemental concentration funding for Heritage. And then their P2 ADA ended up being a little bit higher than our estimate at the second interim. On the federal side, so similar story with the employer retention credit. For Heritage, it was $243,000. So again, big chunks that we weren't expecting through the fiscal year, but they came in right in June. And then in the other local revenues, we've talked about this before, as well as the K-12 SWP funding. So when you get that grant, you invoice the regional county for 75% of the funds. So that all comes in pretty early on. On the expenditure side, came in overall underneath, and salaries are just right where we're expecting it to be. The next one more. The balance sheet for Heritage. So cash at the end of June was just under 2 million at 1.6. Assets of 27.5, which is the majority is this facility, but similarly liabilities of $24.8 million, and equity about 2.6 million. Next slide. Condor. A little bit of a broken record. Same thing with Condor, with Santa Ana Unified having higher UPP that led to an increase in their LCFF. And then in federal funding, their employment retention credit portion was $192,000. And similarly with some deferred revenue from ESSER 3, about $293,000. So that's what drove those increases on the revenue side. And then the expenditure side, they did a good job of trying to tighten up in materials and supplies. So that came in under 90%, and everything else is in that 96 to 100% position for the year. And then go one more. So their balance sheet, pretty healthy, 3.3 million cash at the end of June. Assets of just under 25 million, liabilities of just over 21, so equity of 3.5. Vista Horizon. So Vista Horizon has much smaller pockets. So small decrease on their LCFF because their P2 ADA was a little bit lower than what we projected at the second interim. They did receive a portion of employee retention credit, but it was, I say only, but still $58,000 for Vista Horizon. They did have an increase in nutrition that kind of helped cover that additional increase there on the federal side. And on the state, similar for nutrition and some additional ELOP. And then on the expenditure side, you see the 5,000 series went over. That's driven by SPED contract costs. So that ended up about $20,000 higher than where we were projecting. And subs are about another 10, 15,000 higher than we projected at the end of the year, but in a healthy position at the end. And then looking at their balance sheet, so they had about 1.2 million in cash at the end of June, assets of just about 2 million, and liabilities about $364,000, and then equity of 1.69 mil. Palm Lane. So Palm Lane had, so they had a big ESSER, similar deferred revenue, about 139,000. They originally had additional payments before as well, about 121. And then on the state side, ELOP, they got ACEs for the first time last year. And so they kind of covered your ELOP costs, but you still get all of your ELOP revenue. So that's why that's higher than expected. And then interest payments came in a little bit higher as well. On the expenditure side, classified salaries were slightly above, but everything else was on target. And then their balance sheet is healthy as well. If you go two more. So cash at the end of June was 4.6 mil, assets of just over $10 million, liabilities of just 1 million, and equity of 9.2. Vista Meridian. So they're still waiting for their final LCFF payment. So they're going to be about $4 million, which is slightly above what we projected. And again, that's primarily driven by the UPP percentage for their district. And then we've talked about this before. The big kind of thing that makes it really high is their grant funding that came in. It was over $1 million. So that's why that's that 2.1 million you see for other state revenues. But that's going to be utilized over the next 4 years because it's a 5-year grant. On the expenditure side, certificate was a little bit above as we added a teacher in the back end of the year, but overall on pace. And its balance sheet's a little bit deceiving because they have 3.4 million cash in the bank, but the majority of that is the grant funding and cash flow loan. So their equity, 797,000, but the majority of that is the current grant funding that's sitting there. Okay, next one. All right, now what everybody's waiting to see. So the budget update versus what we have originally projected. So this is a little tough to see here, but I'm gonna run through it. So the top table shares the preliminary budget enrollment and the current enrollment as of last week. So you do see some major drop-offs, and that's what's driving the big change in cash. So the middle school originally projected 390, and current, when we put this together, was 354 last week. So as you can imagine, dropping 36 students dollar value. So the preliminary budget operating income was 105,000. What that's showing right now is 429. Now, what we're showing here is pretty much your worst case scenario because we haven't dove back in and made a lot of major changes on the expenditure side. So that's one thing we're jumping with the principals now, looking at, okay, where can we make some savings? Where do we need to make adjustments on staffing, et cetera? So just revenue drop alone drops their operating income to a negative 429,000. Now, in terms of unrestricted income and LCFF, the schools are still utilizing some of their remaining learning recovery and emergency block grant funds. So for the middle school, a good portion of that is learning recovery. So it's unrestricted, it's still negative at about 180,000 after that. Heritage from 400, I'm gonna stay on that slide for a while. Heritage from 400 down to 361. So they dropped from 188 to a negative 449. We're not utilizing as much learning recovery, so it's still 369 in the negative after learning recovery there. Condor, its drop isn't as significant, fortunately. So from 385 to 367. So from 139 to a negative 40, but with learning recovery, your unrestricted LCFF is actually positive at the end of the year at 101,824. Palm Lane from 305 down to 272, so a little over 30 students. They were the ones, if you remember in June, are in a very tight position in terms for the current year, because they were projected in the negative 123, but positive in LCFF, about $70,000, but current 163 negative because it's about 200,000 in learning recovery funds that they're utilizing. Horizon, 190 to 173, so a little bit healthier, only 17 student drop. And the interesting thing is, so with the majority of the schools, as Dr. Felch and as Mr. Prano mentioned, in the summer, the enrollment numbers seem to be in a much healthier position. Horizon actually was in a lower position as we entered the middle end of the summer. So since they were projecting lower already, we're a little bit more proactive in what we could do. So we had held off on some staffing, increased staffing, et cetera. So those changes are reflected already on this one for Horizon. So although they dropped down 17, their preliminary went from 124 to 17,000, both the learning recovery. They're still in the black 122,000 unrestricted LCFF. So that's why this one looks healthier than the other ones, because we were able to take some proactive adjustments. The two tough ones are Meridian and Vista Lago. So Meridian from 300 to 243. So those 57 students at the higher, ADA rate because they are high school students. Drops it from 63,000 in the black to in the negative 838,000. And then Vista Lago more significantly because it's over half from 170 to 92. And it was already tight about 24,000 in the black to a negative 937. Now, as I mentioned, this includes all costs we had before. Going back in, saying where can we make some adjustments, where can we do some staffing changes. Met with Mr. Prano earlier today, and we feel pretty confident we can drop that by about $500,000 to $600,000, and then with hopefully higher ADA, kind of get to a spot that may still be in the red, but not significantly in the red like this. And since they're newer schools that weren't open during COVID, you don't see a difference for LCFF unrestricted with learning recovery because they don't have any learning recovery funds remaining. Two other things I want to point out that will help two of your schools possibly. So Vista Horizon and Palm Lane were eligible to apply for the facilities incentive grant that opened up by the state in June. So both submitted applications. We're waiting to hear back. I'm fairly confident that Vista Horizon will receive that. And so for the first time, they'll get some facilities help to help pay for a portion of their Prop 39 facility. So that will probably add another $100,000 to $230,000 for Vista Horizon, which we're hoping once we get that to utilize it to rehire some positions that we held off on. Palm Lane similarly applied for it as well. I'm not as confident based off of their free and reduced lunch percentage from last year, but I'm hoping that it would, they'd be able to get through. And if so, they would get around $200,000 to $225,000 from that for each year. If not this year, I'm confident they'll be able to get it, next year. But that's possible openings for those two schools. So the next couple of parts of the presentation are your regular outstanding checks and your check register. So I think we're okay skipping that. So I just want to stop here for any questions or comments.
You can leave that slide up. That's great. Okay. Okay. Questions, board members?
Yeah, I do. Have we ever seen this first time right on the board? It's kind of an unprecedented time with kind of the climate right now with what we're facing. We understand that. Have we ever seen a gap like this before when we started the year?
We've seen gaps, but not this significant. So generally, possibly 20 to 30 students under, but 50 plus, it's new. Because 4 out of the 6 schools are having enrollments that are lower than what the enrollments were last year, and that's the first for Vista.
And it sounded like you kept on saying staffing, right? Like adjustments. Is that kind of the first?
Well, that's the biggest percentage of your expenditures that aren't fixed costs. So, and some of the expenditure increases were based off, increased enrollment for staffing. So that is the first place that we will look for major cuts.
Okay.
For the enrollment number, are you able to tell if is it because the current number of students that we were expecting dropped, or did we overestimate on the number of potential new students?
For that, I'd probably defer to the principals and Dr. Felch.
So I think it depends on the school, because as Arturo mentioned, there are some schools that are actually below where they were last year. Now we always try to push for incremental growth as we proceed towards the capacity for each charter. But again, we ended up moving in the opposite direction, at least for right now. I do want to share that this is typically the lowest point in the school year, where you're building up enrollment over the summer, and then you see a drop. Typically, it's less than this year because people say they're coming, and then they don't show up. So we usually have to make an adjustment, but this year it is a bigger adjustment, and so we're going to be definitely taking a look at the entire budget. I've actually asked Arturo for the entire budgets for all of our schools to look in a lot deeper at where we might be able to cut, be more efficient. Just get creative on things where we just need to make things work. at the end of the day. So we wanted to give you the numbers as is because we did not want to hide behind them. But it's also really a call to action for all of our school sites that things are not going to be pretty if the numbers stay the way they are. So
we were conservative on the 88 percentage.
Yeah.
Because that is one thing that had dropped last year versus historically for Vista. So, you know, these numbers are conservative. So if there's wiggle room there, not as much, but a little bit to grow that 88 percentage and get more ADA out of the students that you do have enrolled. As well.
And we haven't touched on this. This is one of the action items later on, but the attendance recovery is something that is new this year. So that is definitely something that we're going to be focusing on to really build up the ADA percentage, which should help with funding above and beyond what we see here.
Can I ask, I think I'm asking the same question Tuan asked, but maybe I'm, just so I'm clear. So when I look at the line, the preliminary budget line where the enrollment number is that the number we set prior to getting in like the summer enrollments? This was like May, June.
Correct.
We set numbers that we thought we would get to.
Correct.
So that's that number.
Yep.
And then do we have anywhere the numbers of what we actually got to with enrollment before the beginning of the year? As far as for those schools, so that we can see how reasonable those numbers, because there was some drop, like you always get more enrollments than you do students showing up the first day. But if that number 390, I'm just going to pick one because it's the far left. I'm not trying to pick anybody out. But if 390 is VCMS and we budgeted that, but then we only brought in 360 enrollment, then that to me would be more concern about our budgeting process that we should be thinking about. To be protecting of that. But that was my question. And then I do think, I will say, when I look at I'm tracking really closely the attendance rates for the first week, which is somewhat hard to, you all did great. It looks like with attendance rates the first week, the second week, third week is where, we probably will see some attrition and some loss, but it does look like we're ahead of those ADA numbers, and it's going to be pretty important to stay there. It sounds like, or, when I've worked at school districts in the past, there's a October, or it used to be October because we started in September, but there's like a fourth Friday kind of number. And then you start to look at staffing ratios, and that's concerning to me as a board member because I don't want us to have to go through that as an organization if we can push hard to look at that. So, okay. And from a timeline standpoint, our next meeting, right, will be in September, right? And at that point, will we have enough information to see how correction looks?
I believe so. Yeah, we plan to.
Okay. So from both an expense side and a revenue side?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so not to put a damper personally on it, but I mean, I understand how rough it is out there. I do get the fact that we've got an unprecedented approach to making our students feel safe on campus, which, has got to be our primary job, all of us. And so if there's any way that the board can continue to assist in that. But I know that you guys are working hard to make those environments hospitable and safe as much as possible. So I appreciate that, but this is a sobering report. So, but that's okay because we showed what we did last year. We looked at your budgets after what you did last year and where we got to, and that was a lot of hard work too. So we can do it. So I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I think I'll just, I think it's really important that it's an all hands on deck sort of thing. I know that we've hired folks to do things, but when it comes to running our schools and operating, I think we need to focus on our students and getting them there. And I know that there's unprecedented stuff going on, but there's things that we can do to counteract that in terms of having, town halls virtually, right? Ensuring that families know, right, their rights and know what is going on. And also our families are our biggest advocates for our schools. And so leveraging our families in terms of enrolling, right, and getting kids excited about school, because I'm looking at the numbers at Lago right now, and that the sustainability of what we got going on or trying to provide for that community seems at risk. So You know, I know you said you're going to be talking about, you know, looking at budgets and looking at staffing, but I would appreciate the next time that we come here knowing what we're doing, right? Not only at each of our schools, but from the district lens to make sure that our principals aren't alone in this work. And then from our side, what can we do so we can be of support? Because, you know, coming at us, we prepare for these meetings. It's a problem that if someone had the solution for, right, it would be, we wouldn't be where we are. And so whatever we can do, but I would expect that by the time that we come back to be able to know what we're doing, what's working, what's not, and what shifts need to be made.
Any other comments from board members, questions?
It's from a expense point of view. Do you think that, say the tariffs or inflation will cause cost to go up or expense to go up throughout the year?
See that probably materials and supplies, but you know, I think the schools have done a good job in managing the materials and supplies that hopefully it won't be a big impact. The bigger impact is going to be salaries and benefits.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to throw out a percentage and off the top of your head for salary, personnel versus other expenses, 90, 80, 70,
70.
70? Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, anything else, Dr.?
No, it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, thank you. No, and we appreciate that. And thank you for all the hard work. Thank you, Arturo, for the report. And go ahead.
I will just add, though, I think it's really important to note, and I want to highlight Mr. Benavides, right? You're at 90%, right? And I also just want to recognize that your ADA last year was also trending towards the highest. And there was a lot of best practices that I saw and heard in your principal report. And I would just encourage, I know we serve different communities, but learning from each other, right? And what we're doing in the community, because I've been to a lot of your schools. I look forward to going to more of them. But the more that we can learn from each other and what we're doing and what's working, right? You know, there is no perfect solution, but working together is the solution. And so I want to just highlight that. And I want to make sure that we're looking not only at the problem, but also where it's working so we can elevate and learn from each other.
Okay, with that, let's move on to 3.4, Senate Bill 1375 annual notice. And then we'll go to staff report and then we'll look for a motion.
Yes. So these are informational discussion items. So the next 4 items do not need any board action. These are legally required annual notices. So the first one, the Senate Bill 1375 notice, is really around Title IX and ensuring that as schools and as an organization, we do not discriminate based on the basis of sex. And we do have our Title IX policy as well as our procedures and complaint form in our parent-student handbook. And so that is provided to all of our families at the beginning of each school year.
Okay, so do we need to step through them? 3.4, 3.5, 3.6?
We do need to go through each one. Yeah,
Okay.
they are different notices.
Okay, so the first one we've just talked about is 3.4, the Senate Bill 1375 annual notice. Next item will be 3.5, which is the California Healthy Youth Act and Parent Notice.
Yes.
Any further comments on that?
Yes. So this is a notice that is specifically for middle schools and high schools, and it describes that we provide the required sexual education and that parents do have the right to opt out if they do choose. And so this is a notice that goes specifically to our middle schools and high schools.
Great. I am stopping. If anybody has questions or discussion, please let me know. Okay. 3.6, the Title I annual notice.
Yep. So all of our schools are Title I schools or receive Title I funding. And so this notice states that since we do receive Title I funds, parents have the right to request information regarding the credentials of their teachers and be provided information about their child's academic achievement on state assessments.
Great. Okay, 3.7, freedom of speech annual notice.
And this one is this notice describes how students will not be disciplined solely on the basis of the constitutionally protected speech or any other communication. I do want to note that that there are a few exceptions. Any prohibited speech is speech that is obscene, libelous, slanderous, or that could incite any clear and present danger.
Okay.
And do we have I'm sure, but do we have a policy on hate speech at each of our campuses?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And again, those 4 items are all public notices that we put on the agenda because one, they're required by law to be on the agenda, but we really do want people to be able to know that those are out there and that we follow those policies and are monitoring them and making sure that any information that comes to us that's not consistent with that you have that information. Okay, now we'll move on to the action items. 4.1, updated Vista Charters Public School bylaws, and I'll turn it over to staff. Dr. Felch.
So yes, believe it or not, the bylaws have not been updated since 2014. As we have been working with our legal team and preparing for the upcoming renewals for 2 of our schools, we've also seen the need to update our bylaws as an organization. Now, a lot of these updates are legal in nature, but we also wanted to make sure that there are certain things that are just correct. One example is where we're sitting here, where the board meetings are held are at this address in Santa Ana compared to where they were previously. And so in the board agenda, there is a redlined copy that shows all the edits as well as a clean copy of the updated bylaws.
Okay, for this item, I will take a motion to approve.
I motion that.
Thank you, Guillermo.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, I was able, Juan, anything?
Yeah.
I was able to review the red line and, there's changes, but it seems like most of it stays the same, just updated for the law, and that's great. So we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously 4-0. Moving on to 4.2, board resolution authorizing the submission of the Vista Condor Global Academy Charter Renewal Petition for another 5-year term, July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2031. Dr. Felch?
Yes, Vista Condor's current charter petition expires at the end of this school year. And so we are working on it as we speak. We provided the board with a current draft of the charter petition, and we are planning to submit it in about 2.5 weeks to the Orange County Department of Education. And this is the resolution to do so.
Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve that resolution.
A motion.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Guillermo. Okay, any discussion questions? Okay, I'll just indicate, charter petition obviously is a guiding document for the school, and it's important that those documents are leading kind of the way and have all of our processes and a good picture of what we're doing. So I look forward to us being hopefully move this through the process and be approved through public hearing. For board members, just a real quick kind of process piece, how the staff will now submit this. This will then move to a public hearing within 60 days. Within another 30 days, it will move to a decision hearing at the board. The staff on the authorizer will publish some findings and our recommendation within 15 days prior to the decision that we make. So we'll be following this process now, and I think you put in the notes till December, was it?
Yeah, and so nothing is official until we actually submit it and they give us our
Right.
actual dates. But what we are planning on is to submit it to the Orange County Department of Education on September 4th, which happens to be 90 days before their December board meeting. And so if we submit it on September 4th, likely the public hearing, which you mentioned 60 days, is on November 5th. That's their November meeting. And then the decision would be made on their December 3rd board meeting.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion on the table and a second.
I know you asked earlier. I'm curious with these two, I know we're talking about 4.2 right now. What type of support are we offering our schools for this process of charter renewal?
A lot. So we have, and I see both Miss Alessandro and Miss Prado smirking over there. We've got a lot of eyes between myself, Miss Amaya, Dr. Simmons. We've got a few consultants that we're working with, obviously legal support, as well as our principals. And so we're really taking a comprehensive approach to reviewing and updating our charter petitions.
Okay, motion and a second is on the floor. So I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that carries 4-0 unanimously. Now we'll move to 4.2, which is board resolution authorizing the submission of Palm Lane Global Academy charter renewal petition for another 5-year term, July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2020 or 2031. Dr. Felch, anything to add?
Yeah, it's much of the same that we talked about with Condor's renewal petition. Palm Lane will be submitting their charter renewal petition to the Anaheim Elementary School District, which is their authorizer. We will be submitting that, or we plan to submit that a week afterwards, because Anaheim Elementary, Anaheim Elementary board meetings are the second Wednesday of the month, so it's a week after the OCDE board meetings. So we're again trying to align it with the 90 days for that. So if we submit it on September 11th, the public hearing should be on November 12th, and the decision should be at their December 10th board meeting.
Okay, can I'll look for a motion.
I motion that.
Thank you.
Second.
So in second, okay. Any questions? Discussion? Okay. On this, I will just say this again, I'm looking over to my left here and saying, this is pretty great to have another 5-year renewal and to celebrate the 5-year renewal of Palm Lane. And so I'm looking forward to the approval of that and the authorization, hopefully at Anaheim, because I think we've worked really hard to be good partners out in Anaheim, and I'm hopeful that they will see that and see that we're trying to make incremental changes at Palm Lane that have been successful since one of the great founders was involved in it. So anyway, I think it's important for us as an organization to celebrate the work that you did to get us there, and for the students that have been impacted there, because is this the first formal renewal as Vista?
This will be the first formal renewal for Palm Lane as a charter school.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And is there other organizations or other schools within that? How's the climate right now in terms of charter renewal? Is there any concerns there?
With the district itself. So we're one of only 2 charters, and the only other charter school went through renewal a few years ago. Do you remember when, Alyssa? I think it was yeah. Yeah, it was a little while ago. Alyssa and I met a little while ago with that charter leader. But I think it might have been pre 1505 though. Yeah. Well, they did a material revision. Yeah, not the renewal.
Okay, just because, when we approach these, climates change, and so keeping our pulse on the climate, I know there's a lot that we learned up in LA from some recent charter renewals in the charter school world, and so just encouraging us to make sure that I know that I'm new to the Santa Ana area, right, and a lot of this, but similarly to what we were speaking to a little bit earlier, just making sure that I'm sure, right, that we're doing it, but I was just curious myself in terms of the climate and the focus, especially. I know we're going to support all of our schools, but in terms of kind of the urgency of, these 2 schools and ensuring that we're putting our full support behind them.
Great. Yep. I know Dr. Prado is really interested in all the support that we can provide. So, yeah. And I think, again, I know staff's been working hard to, get to know Anaheim and to continue to participate in their, what their board is going through, and their board has gone through some transition and change with board members. They've also, had superintendent change over the couple of years, so they've got a lot on their plate that's not related to charter schools, and so hopefully we can be collaborative partners and not be there. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that is, any opposed? Okay, all in favor of that, so that's unanimous 4-0. We'll move on to 4.4, the VCPS attendance recovery policy. Dr. Felch.
Yes, so this is a big one. As we talked about with the budgets and with the attendance rates. So this is a new initiative in the state of California, allowing schools and LEAs to recover attendance. And so this is helpful both for academic recovery as well as for funding purposes. And so schools will be able to recoup up to 10 absences if a student has missed 10 or more days of school. A few things that I want to highlight within this policy at our principals meeting later this week, we're going to dive deep into this. But there are staffing ratios and requirements here. So the requirements are that it does need to be a certified or certificated staff member. In TK and kindergarten classes, the teacher to student ratio is 10-1. In grades 1 and above, it is 20-1. And this has to be outside of the instructional day. So it could be after school, it could be on a Saturday, it could be during a non-instructional day, such as vacation days and so on. And in order to recoup a day's worth of ADA for any single student, in TK and kindergarten, there needs to be 180 days of attendance recovery, 180 minutes of attendance recovery, or 3 hours. In grades 1 through 3, it is 230 minutes of attendance recovery, and in grades 4 and above, it is 240 minutes. So if you think of 240 minutes, that's essentially 4 hours of attendance recovery, equal to one day of recouped ADA. Those are some of the high level items. But again, we're going to be diving deep into this in our principals meeting on Wednesday.
Okay, we'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, questions, discussion?
And so just to clarify, this only goes up to 8th grade?
Yeah, that's what this is showing right now. I'm gonna follow up and get clarification on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we might need to follow up with for high school on that.
Okay. Tuan?
If there's chronic absentees, right? What makes the students want to go to this recovery program? So is there like an outreach process?
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of our student, every student is different, and why they might be chronically absent is different. And so I think it's really understanding why. And one thing that I think it's important to note is this does not impact chronic absenteeism. And so these rates are going to be separate from the chronic absenteeism rates. So in terms of what's on the dashboard, this does not change that. But in terms of reaching out to students who might be chronically absent, it's really on an individual basis. These likely will be smaller, more intimate settings for students. And again, sometimes students don't or can't come to school for a variety of reasons during the day. It might be needing to watch a smaller sibling or something like that. And this provides another opportunity for our students to be able to come to school. And it's not just recouping the attendance, but it's also missing that lost instructional time and really it being more academic recovery as well. So again, it's it's not a one size fits all in terms of how we reach out to students who are absent. But it's going to be a comprehensive effort with all of our school site staff in terms of, again, we can't mandate this. This is something that is optional. We can encourage, we can inspire our kids to come, but again, we can't mandate it. So yeah, we just need to really find what are some of the reasons, and really just provide that extra support, and showing that they can also, for really more for academic purposes, um, bridge that gap.
Yeah, this seems like a great opportunity, right? It also seems like a little bit, it could be a moral hazard, right? In terms of kids know that they can come on Saturday to make up, right? Parents can say, oh, I won't send you a Saturday, right? School, because we want our kids in school with the students, 'cause so much of it is community character, learning in the classroom, and it's extra work to do on Saturday. And so I'm looking forward, I'm glad that we have this policy. I'm looking forward to seeing what the process is going to be, whether it's going to be monthly or whatever is going to work in terms of staffing. But is that what we should be expecting in the coming board meetings?
Yes, yeah. So we will definitely have plans on whether it is Saturday school or non-instructional days or so on, and we'll be developing that at each school site.
Yeah, and the first step is for us to approve this policy so that you have confidence that we want to go down that road. And then if we approve it, then I imagine it looks like you have to provide something at least quarterly. So your time frame is short to put together a plan and execute on it for this quarter, to do that. So we should hear back. Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead, please.
So if the kids are coming on Saturday, the question is, because I'm a parent, and knowing a lot of the parents, this question is gonna come up. On Saturday, if they're coming in on Saturday, are they gonna be doing study? Or they're just gonna come in and see a movie and sit there watching a movie? Because a lot of the parents will say, no, why I'm wasting my time to take my kid just for watching a movie. That's what the questions some of the parents will ask you.
Mm-hmm.
As a parent, I will ask that question. Do they really gonna go study on Saturday and teach them? Or they're just gonna go sit down and see a movie?
Yeah.
Thank
you for that question. Absolutely, there is not going to be movie watching. It is going to be 100% academic recovery time. And that's also one of the reasons why it must be with a certificated teacher. And so we're going to make sure that we have a concrete plan of what is going to be taught during that time.
But it seems like it's an opportunity, maybe even to make a different connection between a different teacher and the student. And so it could be, it's a great opportunity from a lot of perspectives. I mean, one of the reasons this is a great opportunity is because we haven't seen this program in California for a while. And, attendance is the way that we also get funded. So that's something that people have wanted to change, but this is really a way to instruct people and to catch up maybe. So I'm excited about it, but I hear what you're asking. I think you're right. There are going to be a lot of questions about how do we get the students to actually come? When do they come? When is the best time to come? And I'm super excited to hear staff has all that figured out. Go ahead, Twan.
Yeah, so for this policy, it makes sense, right? For us to, I know it's a motion for the policy, but what I'd like to see is a procedure in place. So from a governance standpoint, there's always a policy, and how do you execute that policy? And it's always based on a form of procedure. And it could be different for each school, but I definitely want to see like a procedure in place to make sure that we execute.
And can I make one recommendation since we have not voted on this yet? I do not know why it said only up to 8th grade. So we can still make an edit to this to include 12th grade, so we don't have to come back to that. And I think Jay will be very happy with that.
So remind me, I think, who was the motion on this and who made the motion, who made the second? Okay, so do you want to remove your second for a second? Do you want to
Yeah.
remove your
I'll
motion?
I'll remove it. Yeah.
Or adjust it?
Yeah, adjust my motion as long as it's. Is that me? No. Oh, it's okay. So how would I say this?
So I think you want to make
Make,
a new
a
motion.
new
You can make a
motion.
new motion because you removed your motion.
I'm gonna remove my motion,
And then you can make a new motion
make a new motion
with the, to amend
To
the
am-
current item policy,
yes,
to add the words, to extend it to 12th grade.
yes.
Instead of up to 8th grade, up to
to eighth
12th
grade.
grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are, I think, 2 or 3 references in the policy where it says fourth grade through 8th grade or something like that, that you'd like to change the 8th grade to 12th grade.
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying.
Okay, so is there a second to that motion? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a new motion on the table that amends the policy language to replace 8th with 12th in all instances in the policy. We expect that probably that will take care of it, and that the policy will be in effect if we were to vote for it. And if there were additional revisions that were needed to the policy, when you bring back the process and the procedures, that we would then see those revisions to the policy that were necessary to comply with law and to be in compliance with law. Is that right? Okay. So I have a motion and a second. I think we have clear direction. It allows staff to move forward and then come back to us. And I don't know that we need to set a date for them to come back to us, but I'm sure they'll come back to us as quickly as they feasibly can with their planning. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And any other discussion, questions?
Good.
All right, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0 unanimously. Thank you, guys. That's great. All right, we're moving on to 4.5, travel costs associated with conference attendance for the future business leaders of America. Any things to report from staff perspective?
Now, this is an exciting opportunity. Dr. Rial has put together or is planning to bring a few staff as well as some students to the Future Business Leaders of America Institute in Santa Clara. I believe it is October 17th through the 19th. Just an incredible opportunity, not only for staff professional development, but for our students. To go to this. This is one of our CTE the CTSO, yeah, student organizations at Vista Meridian, and all of the expenses will be paid with one of 2 of our CTE grants, whether it's the K-12 SWP or the Golden State Pathways grant. So this is fully grant funded.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
A motion?
Thank you, Chuan.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Any discussion, questions?
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Great. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0 unanimously. Moving on to 4.6, which is travel and costs associated with the CCSA conference. Staff?
Yeah, so you can see the list of the members that we're proposing or the staff that we are proposing to have attend the CCSA conference. The cost to attend is going to be lower because it is in Long Beach, so it is local this year. And so we've got central staff, principals, as well as community coordinators, and then also Board President Durfee would like to attend. And so I think it's a great opportunity for us to attend the conference, to see the larger charter environment and network with other charter leaders that are doing a lot of the same work that we're doing. And a lot of good things can come from this conference. I do want to mention that my registration is paid for as a CCSA member council representative, so it would not cost anything for Vista.
Okay, is there a motion? Thank you. Second?
A second?
Thank you, Chuan. Okay, any questions, discussion? I do want to encourage board members, if you have the opportunity in future years, or even if your plans change and you're able to go this year, I think we may be able to still accommodate you. And I will say that it's a great learning tool for board members to see other board members up there, to hear from other schools that are going through some of the similar problems that we're going through, and trying to understand how they're managing those issues. It'll probably soon be in front of us as well. So, okay, no discussion, no questions.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for these conferences, are there specific workshops? And then do people enroll in those workshops ahead of time or sign up for it?
They don't usually have pre-enroll. There's not a whole lot of at CCSA.
So
You can pick.
You can pick, yeah.
I don't think
But
there's.
but there
if
are,
you're late to a room.
yeah.
You can pick, but there's not like, you don't need to register for them ahead of time. But if you get to one late, right, that's busy, you can either, there's not space. But there are a bunch of different topics for classroom teachers, to school leaders, to district leaders, to board members.
Yep.
And I'll just highlight, I've been to a few of them before, and I think if there's an opportunity to go, you should definitely.
Yeah, and there are different themes. So there are themes for school leaders. There are themes, I think, for like community coordinators. There's themes for board members, and so it's not just for like instructors. There are sessions for everyone. Great keynotes, great networking opportunities. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and we are going to be submitting a proposal to present at that conference as well. So
is there a goal like for the conference, or do people just show up and say, hey, I'm just going to attend this workshop because it's interesting for me?
So what we've done in the past is we try to meet as a group and game plan pretty much what sessions we want to hit when we all see the schedule, to make sure that we're getting as much information as possible and then sharing it amongst ourselves. And then afterwards, how do we get that out to our schools? So, yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
yeah, there's just having been through kind of the conference for a number of years, there are keynotes, there are strands of sessions on all topics, different segments of, like Colin said. And so there are probably like 10 strands over each block over that 3 days. I don't know if I think this conference is 3 days this year. And so I think what a lot of schools have done is divided up those strands to hit the things that are most relevant to them. For example, facilities is always something that a lot of people are interested in as far as some of those things. So sometimes you see people go to those, and that's kind of how we've seen it. So they're pretty full days. They're not like just social, but a lot of the work is talking to people that are running into the same. They have a trade show floor with the exhibitors that have different services that provide information. So it's pretty thorough.
So after the meeting, it sounds like you're going to meet, and then are you going to document the lessons learned and then share it?
And we can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you can do that.
And and we could come back the next board meeting and absolutely share.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I don't know if this is the time and space, but since you shared, I would love to go, right, and be able to make it. And so I'd love to talk to you about it, because this would be the first time going with kind of the hat of being a board member. And, I presented at CCSA before. I would just highlight, it's a wonderful event in terms of, there's going to be a lot of things here in terms of the problems that we're facing, the steps for discussion on attendance, how we support our students, literacy, facilities, all those things. And so I want to make a point of attending as well.
Okay.
So, but I don't.
Can we
need
just
to be-
amend
yes.
that?
I was gonna say you can amend it in the motion
New to
to
these amendments, I'm sorry.
or we can come back later and
Let's
Let's just amend
I'm
it.
so sorry.
Okay, so I think you made the motion. Is that right? Tuan made the motion. Did Tuan? Okay. So do you? Yeah.
You can always take away.
Yeah.
Take away, but.
Yep, yep.
Okay, so I think you have to remove your second, or he has to make a different.
Should I rescind my amendment?
Yeah, your second. Second.
Second.
And then you now can withdraw your previous motion and make a new motion. Okay, and the new motion is to approve. Yeah. Okay, to approve, and so we can just make it to approve.
I can put all of the board members' name, like
Yeah.
Miss Amaya said, and then when we actually go to register, we'll register only the ones that
Have confirmed.
actually intend to, confirm it.
I like that idea.
That's great. Okay, so that's your motion. Yes. I think we understand it. You're okay with that motion? You've got it enough? Okay. And you want a second again? Or not?
No, I said.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and
Thank
that
you.
carries 4-0. All right, thank you for that. Updated Vista Global 4.7, updated Vista Global Academy and instructional calendar and heritage.
Yes, so this is specific to Vista Condor and Vista Heritage. This is based on a need to switch February 5th from a school day to a professional development day, and then swapping that with April 6th, which was a planned professional development day when we come back from spring break, and making that into a school day. The reason is on February 5th, we were just notified that the Santa Ana Mayor's prayer breakfast event is being held that morning at Templo Calvario, which is right next door to the school. We share the same parking lot. Usually that event has about 1,000 people that attend. And having a school day with staff and students with an event, it does not mix very well. So we are able to with this swap those days, so that day would be a professional development, and we would likely, like last year, do an offsite professional development, so we are not taking up parking spots.
Great.
Yep. And I will say, I have requested with the mayor's staff to be included on the planning for any future years events, so we can hopefully build that into our calendar when we are approving it, instead of having to, because this is the second consecutive year that we've had to change that.
Great, yeah. Okay, I'll look for a motion. Thank you.
A second?
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? All
No.
right, thank you. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that carries 4-0. Okay, Vista Lago 4.8 for Vista Lago Global Bond Reimbursement Resolution. Dr. Felch?
Yes, so we previously had a bond reimbursement resolution for Vista Lago, but it had a different address when we thought we were going to be at that other address. Now that we are in escrow for the specific site and we know exactly where it's going to be, this is an updated bond reimbursement resolution with that new address.
Great. I'll look for a motion.
A motion.
Okay, got a motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that carries 4-0. 4.9, Title III Consortium MOU. Dr. Felch?
Yep. So this is similar to what we've done in the past for some of our schools due to the number of English learners not meeting the minimum threshold to be able to apply for Title III funds on their own. We bring Vista Meridian and Vista Horizon into a consortium that's typical for smaller schools in order to receive Title I or Title III funds.
Great. Is there a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, that carries 4-0. Moving on to 4.10, Reach University Internship Credential Program Agreement with Vista Charter Public Schools.
Yeah, so as Arturo was sharing that we were fairly conservative with staffing at Vista Horizon, the first grade class at Vista Horizon is at 38 students right now, and so it definitely necessitates the need to open up a second first grade class. The teacher that we have in mind it would be a teacher intern. She's going through a program at Reach University, and so this is this is similar to other university intern programs that we've done in the past to address teacher shortages. And so this is an employee that we've worked with in the past in other capacities, and now she's working to try to get her teacher credential. And we, once she's intern eligible, we would love to bring her on as another first grade teacher.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Okay, any questions, discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries 4-0. On to 412. Selection of the Vista Lago Global Academy Permanent Facilities Project Architect. Okay, Dr.
Project
Thomas.
man, 411.
411, thank you. Project manager. I jumped to 412, sorry, 411. I have to try to do that once during the meeting just to see if
Just to make sure we're following. So we are recommending Antonio Gonzalez of Gonzalez Development Consulting LLC to be the project manager for the the Vista Lago facilities project. This same individual, Antonio, has been a huge asset in working with our team, specifically Alyssa, to get our temporary site up and running in those 60 days that we did. And we feel like he is the best person for the job for the long-term project that we're coming up on.
Okay. I'll look for a motion. Thank you, Guillermo.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions, discussion?
This is part of the budget, right? Like, for the work?
Yes. So this is part of the future bond that we are. So this is not necessarily going to hit the budget that is already in dire straits. So a few things here. This is going to be bond funded once we close on the bond. The projection is March, this upcoming March of 2026 is when we're going to close on the bond. That's actually when our escrow closes. So we need to close on the bond by then. And with the bond reimbursement resolution that you just approved, these costs would then be reimbursed through the bond, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And then we vetted out all the consultant and found that he's the best.
Yes, Alyssa has been doing a lot of work to vet different project managers and all of the other positions that we'll be touching on.
Great, thank you for the questions. Any other questions, discussion?
Yeah, no, I think it's, for me, the idea of moving forward with these expenditures, and I know but just to clarify, this is coming from bond money, so it's not going to be impacting our current budgets that are already in the red, that we need to be able to support with attendance?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For clarification, we don't have the bond yet, but we will be getting the bond later this school year because we can't close on the bond quite yet. We're waiting until we get the entitlements from the city to close on the bond, but we're planning for March of this year.
Okay, so just so I can feel like we're clear, so there are going to be costs associated prior to the approval of the bond that we will be paying, that will be out of our budget. But we anticipate that those will quickly be resolved and it will be more of a cash flow issue than an actual expenditure out of our budget. That's our anticipation. If that were for some reason not to occur, we would come back immediately to the board, and to the staff would be looking for, again, a plan to figure out.
Yep.
And again, new to this, but the bond is not contingent on, so like if, I believe in Vista Lago, it's a new school, we're opening up, but could we not get the bond if they look at what our current enrollment is and say, hey, you're not right?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
But we're going to do everything in our power. And this is not our first bond. This is our third bond as an organization. So, I mean, yes. Is it a possibility? Sure.
Okay.
But by March, am I confident that we're going to do what is needed to get the bond? Absolutely.
And let's say we don't get it. then we do take from our budget.
Yeah.
This cost.
Yeah. Alyssa wants to say
Yeah,
something.
no,
I appreciate it. Thank you, Alyssa.
Hey, Mario. Yep, cool. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. Number one, there is going to be created what's called a group, right? So the credit will not just be based on the school. So there will be the whole network is behind this school. So when you think about, you mentioned the budget, right? This money is going to be from a separate bucket that will be reimbursed. So it's not their cash flow right now. The other thing is we just got rated. So we already have our bond rating as an organization. So as long as we maintain our cash flow as we have, it'll continue as that. So those were my two things. And then the other thing is with enrollment, it's already growing. So I feel pretty confident that it'll be good. That's all I wanted to add. Thanks.
So I just want to add that our cash flows always seem great, but again, when we looked at the enrollment and do we have any anticipation that our cash flow will not be when it comes to March?
Because you have two very strong schools that are supporting.
Because they look at it as like a whole network, right? We're not looking at it as just Lago. We're looking at it as Vista Charter Public Schools. You've got Vista Condor, Vista Heritage. You've got all the schools that are seen almost as one entity. Is that what you? Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, I think. Yes. Thank you for all your help because I must be getting tired. Okay. And my comment would just be, again, I think staff hears what we're saying is, we have a great existing program that is fantastic. We're super excited about having a new school out in Riverside that's opening and during my board comments, I'll talk about the passion that the parents have out there and how good it makes me feel that we're trying to serve a need out there. But that being said, I think it's clear from what I'm hearing from the board that, we have a focus on getting our improved program going and keep going what we're doing in our existing campuses as well. So, okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that carries 4-0. All right, now we're gonna do the 4.12, the facilities project architect.
Yes, so same project, and we've vetted a number of different architects. This one is not cut and dry, and so we've shared a comparison of the costs. The two architectural firms that are the finalists are I'm going to mispronounce it, Leonikis, and what is it? RFA. Franco, Rafael Franco and Associates. And while I have personally worked with both previously, have great relationships with both firms. RFA, Rafael Franco and Associates came in lower in their proposal. Leonikis came in a little higher. They said that they were going to come or try to provide an updated proposal. It did not get submitted in time for the board meeting. So I would probably lean more towards Leonikis if we were comparing, if we weren't looking at the cost factor, just from the quality of work and previous work together. However, I am holding off on making a recommendation to the board, and just want to provide the information there. Again, if you have any questions for myself or Alyssa, I know Alyssa has been really doing a lot of the legwork with these firms. Happy to answer those.
Okay, I think we need to get a motion on the table. It sounds like the motion would need to include who the board would like to select. So the motioner should indicate who they'd like to select of the two. It's Raphael Franco and Associates, or Leonka. Is that how it's pronounced?
I think it's
Leonakis.
Leonakis.
Thank you. I'm butchering somebody's names. I apologize. Okay, so I'll look for a motion and then we can have a discussion.
So can I just make sure what the motion is for?
So the motion would be to approve, it would be to select the Vista Lago Global Academy Permanent Facilities Project Architect.
So we would select
Or
that right
to
now.
probably to select one of the options, either Leonikis or Raphael Franco and
Right,
Associates.
to select one of
Yeah.
the two.
If needed,
Not yet.
yeah.
Not yet, Melissa. You can stay there though. We want to talk to you. But
Yeah.
so what we need is a motion.
Motion, and then if we do
Actually,
need to
let me
change,
just say it this way. We can make any motion you want to make. The item is to select the Vista Lago Academy Permanent Facilities Project Architect. And right in front of us with staff reports, we have two that we could choose one of those two. We could choose none of those two. We could do all kinds of things, but we need to put a motion so that we can ask some questions. And I think this is going to take some time.
I would have recommended if we had received an updated proposal, I would have recommended Leonakis, because hoping their proposal would be more in line with Raphael Franco's. But because we did not get that proposal, I don't want to necessarily make that recommendation based on the cost difference that we currently have, if that makes sense.
But we would be discussing something that we would be hoping to get from them later. It'd be
So-
hard to select.
Let me go back to,
Yeah.
I know I'm making
Yeah,
this
I'm
tough.
sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Trying to follow
Mhm.
the Brown Act and make it right. We can come to any conclusion after our discussion and questions, but we can't have that discussion and question until we have some sort of motion on the table.
Got it.
And if there's no motion on the table, then the item will just pass and we'll move on to the next one. But I think staff would be
Yep.
Dropping over, hitting their heads, saying, gosh, we need a decision tonight. I think this is what they would be saying to us. Or we need you to talk about this tonight because it's really important for our timeline. So I think that's what they would tell us, and that's why we need a motion
Yes.
to discuss.
I motion to discuss.
Okay, your
Yep.
motion to discuss the two
Yep,
options.
the two options.
Okay, all right, so the only motion on the table is to discuss the two options. And then we can either remove those motions or amend those motions if we have to. Okay, so now we're at the discussion phase. Right now, we don't have a motion to approve anyone, but we'll go through the questions and discussion. So I'm happy to start with whoever wants to start. I've got lots of questions myself.
I'd like to hear from Melissa, if that works part of it, because before we can discuss.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
part of this discussion.
Yeah. So so why don't we start? What's your interest? What would you like Alyssa to tell us?
I would like to hear from you, right, based upon the proposals that we both received, right? One is, we said it might come back and it might be a lot bit lower, but based upon what you've seen so far, what is your recommendation?
Totally.
moving forward?
So generally for this type of project, we're looking at usually about 10% of hard costs for your architect. Franco came in, I think it's 4.5 or 5, I can't remember.
Yeah, around
Quite
there.
low. And then I called the architect, his name is Tony, that I work with at Atlanta. How do you say it again?
Leonakis.
Leonakis?
They just changed. So Leonakis came in 8.5%, I feel like. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. So they're within the range. We got this proposal Thursday afternoon and we asked them to give a 20% haircut. We said, we really want to work with you. They are the architectural team that did the design for this building. They also did part of, no, they didn't do that building. I've done other projects with them. So that architectural team is very thorough and they're great to work with. So that would be my recommendation if they are able to get their price down. I asked them for a 20% reduction. There's a couple, I haven't worked personally with RFA, but I've worked with them on a smaller project. They did the retaining wall at VCMS, and then
They also did the Costa Mesa project that didn't come to fruition, but we worked with them on
Yes.
that.
so they've done a number of charter schools. They tend to be the cheaper option. Cheaper, in my opinion, isn't always better. We are mindful of the budget. This is part of the design. It was factored in to the overall initial budget that we presented to the bond. Two things I want to mention. Our current lease with the city of Lake Elsinore, it's actually a franchise use agreement, is dependent on us getting this parcel entitled by March. So this design work is incredibly urgent. And then the second thing is we are at a crucial time because of school starting, traffic, like all the studies that we need to get done need to start happening. So for me, it's twofold. You know, we've got to close on the escrow, and we also told the city, and the city has requested us to be done with our entitlements by March.
And when you asked for the 20%,
Mm-hmm.
was there a response like, hey, we're gonna get
Yes.
back to you?
So
and then they
yeah,
just
so
didn't get back?
the architect, not to get too much into the weeds, they carry other engineers underneath them.
Okay.
So it's like I might be able to cut my salary, but is the rest of my team able to cut their salary, right? So like me, yes, I'm willing, but is my team behind me willing as well? So it's not just, is it the civil engineer, the MEPs, like are they all willing to take that cut as well? So that's what we were waiting to hear back. We were hoping to hear back today, but he said it's probably gonna be tomorrow or Wednesday. So again,
And in your experience, just
Yeah.
sometimes you ask for 20 and they come back like 10% to say this is the best that we can do.
Yeah. It's happened. I asked for 20, hoping they would give me 15.
Got it.
Because 15 gets it a little closer.
Yeah, and the percentages that Alyssa was referring to, so Rafael Franco came in at 5.47%, and Leonakis, as we currently have, came in at 8.31%.
And this is the percentage is the cost of the construction to build. They think about like the time of effort that to create the project, how much work they're going to put in.
And if it was a 20% deduction, Leonakis would be at 6.65%. So still a little higher than Rafael Franco at about a percentage higher. The difference in terms of pure cost is 500,000 as is. If it came down 20%, we'd be looking at approximately 200,000 difference. Yeah.
Okay. Questions? More? Okay. So I have a couple questions. I guess the first question for you, both of you, is can we work with RFA? I mean, do we feel confident that we can work with RFA, or do we need to be really looking at Leonakis?
I've worked with them before. I can work with them. Like
it's
not a
yeah.
it's not a problem there. It's just if I was looking even keel at the two, I would choose one over the other, but I don't necessarily have negative things to say about the other one.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything you want to add, Alyssa, on that? No. Okay.
No, I mean it's a it's just a work preference, right? Like I think that the other is better, but I just haven't worked with the RFA. The proposed GC that is our next item, which I'm not going to touch, has worked with both as well.
Okay. And the way I would understand this is that the total construction budget is pinned by the bond capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And as I recollect, that bond capacity is pretty narrow for what a project could cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there's a 500,000 delta, then we're really talking about shrinking that capacity with architectural work.
Yeah.
So you essentially gain
So we've looked at
500,000 if
Yep.
you, yeah, okay.
And we've looked at as well as like phasing the project. We actually had a meeting with the informal meeting with the city about how can we use the current modulars to bring them onto the permanent site to save cost. So there has been ways that we've kind of been looking at how can we recover costs because of interest rates and just the cost to build is really high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other additional questions, thoughts? Okay. I guess I'll just express my comfort levels.
Mm-hmm.
My comfort, the struggle I'm having is that I think, well, let me ask this question first. So from a timeline perspective, when you need a decision you illustrated that we need to be moving because we need to hit the March deadline or date, not a deadline, the March suggested date by the city. And so if we were not to, like, we could make a motion, for example, maybe a board member could make a motion not to exceed a certain amount, and that would allow you to move forward with Leonakis if they came back and you were more comfortable with them. We could make a motion, we could do nothing tonight, we could call a special board meeting once you have a bit more, which is not my preference, by the way, nor probably any of my colleagues. But that's, I guess, so we need a little bit of direction from you all as to what you feel like you need tonight.
I'll be honest. I think we need to make a decision tonight. I think it puts an already tight timeline even tighter, because we need to really get going on the drawings and the submittal to the city. I would not want to put that March deadline in jeopardy anymore.
I think your idea of not to exceed gives me a little more comfort, because you could say to the group, hey, it can't exceed this. So then it gives me a couple days to say, hey, can you hit this number or not? And it's very clear. If they can't, then obviously we would have to contract the alternative. That's my preference. But again, I'll look to you guys for that.
I'm ready to vote, but I also think that if it's 200,000, that's a lot. We can take that money and invest it back to the students or the teacher. And based on what Dr. Felch is saying, like he's worked with who is it? Franco?
Franco, yeah.
And he's comfortable with it. So I'm ready to make a decision.
Okay. All right, I think we have all the discussion that unless you have anything you'd like, okay. All right, so we have a motion. I think we need to probably, motion to discuss. So now we probably need to get a new motion.
Can I ask the one? Can I hear more about what you're thinking? Because you said you were ready to vote based upon.
Yeah, I think we need to make a decision. And I think that, again, even if the difference is 200,000, I think that's significant. I think we can take that money, invest it in the teacher, the schools, the student, do better things with it. It's just not significant enough to me. Well, it is significant enough to me to make a decision.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I hear so I'm struggling a little. I'm wondering if we want to, so one approach, I don't have a firm position on this approach. And what I'm hearing you say, which may or may not be true, is that if you have to make a decision, your motion would be to approve RFA tonight at their current bid. And so one thought in my head, to give flexibility to staff, which I don't think Leonakis is going to be able to do, is to meet RFA's amount. And so we could make a motion to give staff the ability to continue to talk to Leonakis about coming to RFA's budget. And then if they don't move forward with Leonakis, if that gives the staff the flexibility that they want. Now, I don't know that, I have less confidence that they would actually do that. But anyway, so I just throw that out. So and then I'll stop and let you guys make a motion and kind of we can move along.
Yeah, and any of you can make a motion.
Right.
If there is a second or no second, that'll show if that moves forward or not.
If we can vote it up or not. Okay.
So you're recommending that they can match it or come in?
I mean, I'm kind of like Alyssa won't like look up and give me a nonverbal indication at this moment, but like I'm trying to get an idea of whether that gives staff the flexibility that they want if we were to put that in, and I guess that's what I'm suggesting, but I'm wondering if staff thinks that that's helpful or not. If it's not, I mean, I think I sense where the board is at, and that they'll make a motion. So
yeah,
it's kind of up to you guys to give me a nod whether you think, into the board, of what direction you want.
So I'm hearing two possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing one that would just be, we recommend Franco or select Franco as is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing the other one is we will select Leonakis if they can match the proposal, and if not, we will go with Franco. Is that it? Am I reading that?
That's what I'm suggesting. I mean, again, it's pretty unorthodox and
I think it's highly
much-
unlikely that they'll be able to take that much off.
Yeah.
That's
my guess too.
33%. Yeah.
Okay. So that makes it probably a lot easier. So I'm ready. I'm looking for a motion.
I know you are. And I know everybody's ready to go. I'm curious though, in terms of, we talked about them bringing back the number. It's clearly that you guys would rather be working with Leonakis. Is there a number that, we would feel comfortable with that they could bring down, that in terms of, could they get it within, did you say the best case scenario was they could only get it within $200,000?
I think that's what Alyssa was trying to get. And even if it was we were trying to get a 20% cut, which would get it to 200,000, a 200,000 difference. But if they countered back at like, say, a 15%, I haven't done that calculation, but we're probably looking at like a $250,000 difference, something like that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think I mean I will say I kind of threw a wrench in this, but so I'll take responsibility for that. But I do think we probably shouldn't try to negotiate this over the dais in public. So I think at some point we need to make a selection and recognize that folks feel strongly about the cost.
Mm-hmm.
If that's where people are at. Okay. I'll still look for that motion.
Motion to vote?
Yeah, I think we have to remove the motion that we currently have. So who made the second? We can do it again, or we can amend the motion, I guess. We can amend the motion. Who made the motion?
I think Michael did.
Michael made the motion. So you can make a substitute motion, probably. You can make a substitute motion. To do whatever you want. And then that takes precedent. And then that takes precedent over.
Can I just remove it?
You can. Well, somebody has to remove the second, I think, if you didn't remove the motion, I think, literally. But
You were the second.
Okay, let's just remove it, because I'm not
okay.
as strong.
So do you want to remove your second then?
Withdraw.
Withdraw?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you'll withdraw your motion.
Yep.
Okay, so now there's no motion on the table. We need a motion on the table. Does anyone want to make a motion? Okay, so the motion on the floor would be to select RFA as the permanent Vista Lago Global Academy Permanent Facilities Project Architect. Is there a second for that motion?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you for not making me step in to be the second as a chair. Okay, so is there any further discussion, questions? I don't want to. You okay? Okay, are we good to vote? Everybody good to vote? Good? You good?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to take a roll call vote, or would you just want to do it like we usually do?
We can take a roll call vote.
Okay.
I think, okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Do you want me to call the roll, or do you want to call the roll? Okay.
Jerónimo Gaitán.
You got lucky to be first.
Tuan Pum. Michael Hoover.
I approve.
Miles Durfee.
I'll vote yes. Aye. Okay. So we took a roll call vote that passes 4-0 for us to select RFA as the project architect. Okay. Thank you, members of the board, staying with that conversation. I know it was a lot. Okay, we're moving now on to 4.13, the selection of the Vista Lago Global Academy Permanent Facilities Project General Contractor.
Okay, I hope this one is a little more straightforward. We did a similar process of receiving multiple bids and vetting possible contractors. Again, the final two we have worked with in the past between Del Amo and Blackwell Development, based on the bids, the staff recommendation is to go with Blackwell Development. They did come in lower. We do have a history with them. They were the contractors that built this building. And they've also been the contractors that have been working on the temporary site as well. And we believe that they would be the right people for this job.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I motion.
A second?
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes 4-0. Okay. 4.14 election of board vice president effective for a term August 18th, 2025 to June 30, 2026. You'll all recall, let Dr. Felch speak, but you'll all recall that we made some changes to our bylaws. And so go ahead, Dr. Felch.
Yes. So as Board President Durfee mentioned, as we were making updates to the bylaws, the legal recommendations were for us to add a board vice president as one of the officers. We have not had that previously. The legal recommendation was also that the board secretary actually, instead of being a board member, to be an employee that takes the minutes and so on. So the recommendation is for board member Hoover to be elected as the vice president.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we can, we don't have to nominate. We can just go ahead and go to a recommendation.
You do have to not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm looking for a nomination for the board vice president. Does anybody want to make a nomination? Looking this way for somebody. I'll nominate Michael Hoover for vice president.
I second that. I think
Okay.
it makes sense.
Okay. Discussion? Questions? You consent?
I consent.
Okay. All right. I'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Reluctantly, yes.
No, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, that carries 4-0. Okay. Phew. This meeting was so much more fun earlier. Okay, 5.1. We've come to 5.1, right?
5.1 board comments.
5.1 board comments. Okay. All right. So board comments. Anyone want to? Any of the members of the board want to make a comment? I'll start with Tuan to see if there's anything.
I don't have any comments today.
Okay. Thank you. Geronimo, Michael.
Yeah, just this was a quite a board meeting. There was a lot that we'd been talking about, and in terms of budgets and ADA and exciting new things. But I just want to make sure that all of our school leaders and staff know that I see the work that you're doing, and the campuses that I've been on are campuses that I'd want to send my students to. And so continuing to get the voice out, continuing to let us know what you need, continuing to invite us and tell your story, because that's really what it's about. I think you saw up here that I can just speak for myself, right? This is the first time that being on a school board, I'm very honored, come prepared, want to make sure that we're doing it right. But when we're talking about facing budgetary challenges and also talking about expansion, I think that it's important that we do our best to ask hard questions. And so I appreciate the board, and I appreciate the leadership that you're offering, right? I see what you're doing up here. And I also just want to say, I hope we have a really great year ahead, and we'll continue to do, my best on the back end to be the best it can be, and accept the nomination of vice president from secretary. Sonny, you've been doing a fantastic job. And congratulations to all the folks who've hit their 10 years. That's quite a remarkable journey.
Thank you. Good. Great. Okay. I want to close on some positive notes as far as my board comments. I was very excited to be out at the schools for a school opening this year. I don't think I attended any last year, so I haven't been out and about as much as I'd like. I was at Vista Lago, and as I alluded to in my previous comments, I mean, I know every day is special, but the first day is always really special. And just to see some of the smiling, beaming parents who were dropping off their kids, and the nervous ones who were, walking away going, well, is my child going to be okay? I don't know if I want to leave them here. And it wasn't because they didn't want to leave them at Vista Lago. It was just because they were so connected to their student and they cared so much about their child that they didn't want to be away from them, which when you think about summer, and I sometimes will confess that I was ready for summer to be over with with my kids when they were younger sometimes, but it was great to see that. And so I think, again, you know, the Vista Lago story is a hard one because of all the work that we need to do to keep that moving. And I know that staff has shared with me at the central office level that we're all there. They're all there. And we're going to support that school and work really hard because it's special and it's doing things. And we've already done that, because if you look what Alyssa and the team with all of the people were able to do to pull that off. I've told stories to some of the staff about schools that have started in buses, schools that have started in outdoor spaces because they had to have a culture week the first week because they didn't actually have a building that was open. And, it would have been hot in Riverside. I'm telling you, I was happy that our air conditioning was pumping and working. So I feel bad for the the high school, because I don't think I want to be in Santa Ana without air conditioning. So I just wanted to point out how special that moment was. And then I was able to go over to Palm Lane, and, it is so great to see our global reach and our global ideas when you look at the flags in the front. It's every school that was built in California seems to be built in the 1950s or 60s. It all looks the same. We're talking about architects tonight, and there wasn't a lot of architectural vision when they were building schools in some of the public school districts in the state. And you look at Palm Lane and you can see, hey, that's a school. I know that's a school because it looks just like that. But you see the flags and the touch that we've put on that community. And I think we talked about that at, another story from the middle school with the same thing. Just a flag can make a difference. It shows the global competencies that we've put together and that we're doing. So that was another great experience. I got to go into the classrooms. I get to see all the students. I got to the 5th and 6th and 4th grade classes. And, it's just great to see how invested the teachers are in the first day and how they were working with the teams of students. And you could see the anxiousness of the students who are finding new friends, who were trying to understand what the year was going to look like ahead. And you could feel the staff pushing in to try to comfort them as they start to explore those new relationships and their new experiences. So I wanted to mention that. And then I also wrote down notes about, I was looking at the principal reports, and I was looking at 50 families attended the first Friday, right? Yeah. First Friday with principal. 50 families at our middle school, right? I mean, I don't know, getting 50 families anywhere, like in our schools, is really tough. So on the first Family Friday, that's great. Principal Friday. So congratulations on that. And it just shows the commitment you all have. So I thank you for that. I have one for each one of the schools, but I feel like I'm going long. So I know there's other schools out. I know our other schools are out there. I haven't been to all of them this year yet, and I will get there. But thank you for that commitment to that, and for the seriousness that you bring to the work. And that's the same seriousness that I sense the board is trying to bring to the work, so that we can make the best possible decisions to let you all fly and focus on your students. Because I mean, you think about the lives you're changing, and I can see it every day when the students are out there and what you all are doing. So thank you for the staff and the parents and everyone that's, involved. So, and welcome our new director of instruction curriculum. So am I getting close to right? No, not right. I'm trying. But anyway, all right. So with that, we're going to go into closed session. We're going to come back. A lot of you probably won't be here, but we'll be back, and we'll be here to adjourn the meeting. And I will just say, let's not miss the line at the bottom of the agenda, which says we transform the school experience, because I know we say that after we adjourn, but thank you for all you're doing to do that. All right, so we'll go in closed session. We'll be back. Have a great evening if we don't see you, but we'll be here. Thanks. So we're adjourning at 7:31 to closed session, and we'll be back.
Morning.
We're good? Okay, great. All right, I'd like to bring us back from closed session and put us back into session, open session. We'll report out that there were no reportable actions tonight for the closed session. And I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh, everybody's ready to go home.
I second.
Okay, we've got a motion in a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:33. Thank you all. We will see you in September, if not before.